and I have yet to tell you solutions. There's so many, but I'll share rather some that I have practiced and those that I've heard that have been most effective. I think the key thing is this, and I've seen this because when I go home to Jamaica, I see some people eating very late at night and eating dinner late, and I mean like not like salad or snack, but like some, rice and peas and yam and tons of meat and all of that too late at night, and then they go to bed after an hour. And what we've found out is that you want to ensure that you limit the amount of food that you ingest about 2 hours before you go to bed. And there have been several studies that have shown, one, from a health standpoint, because you've consumed so much food, most of which are carbs, that your poor pancreas is overworking to send, insulin to neutralize all that glucose that you just pumped in your body. And so remember what happens during sleep is that this is the time when the body should dip. The pancreas shouldn't be sending all that insulin. So the body is saying, hold on a second. So I'm supposed to be sleeping now. I shouldn't be overworking the pancreas. But you just put a ton of food in me. But because of how I have to neutralize the amount of glucose in your body, I have to send more insulin. And so this is what happens where people are at greater risk for developing, diabetes as a result of that. So you have to be careful about what you eat before. You also want to be careful about exercising too close to bedtime. I usually say 2 to 3 hours or so. Why? Because when you exercise, it's very stimulating. It sends all those hormones up and cortisol levels, and that could significantly impact your sleep. Why? Well, when you go throughout the day, I think I shared earlier about circadian rhythms, that there are 2 biological processes that goes on. When you wake up, your cortisol level is high, right? The cortisol hormone is the arousal hormone, and your melatonin, which is a sedatory hormone, that is low. So over a given day, they are here, and over time they cross paths. And so at night, your cortisol is low, your melatonin is high. But what happens when you exercise is that period when the cortisol level should be dipping, you just shot up your cortisol level because you need the cortisol to pump the adrenaline and all to sustain the grueling exercise that you're taking part in. And so this is why you want to be careful not to exercise too close to bedtime. You also want to be mindful of being on phones or being on your computers too close to bedtime. Why is that so? Again, back to the analogy, cortisol and melatonin, that you want to ensure that you have enough melatonin because that's just going to naturally induce this sedatory feeling so that you could fall asleep. And so when you are exposed to the blue light that is emitted from our mobile devices, that what you are sending to the eyes and sending to the master clock is mixed messages, because it is saying, okay, it's not time to sleep. But remember, the circadian clocks are saying, oh no, it's time to sleep. And so that's where you can have delay. And what ends up happening to most of us is that if we eat too late, if we exercise too late, and if we are exposed to these mobile devices too late, in many ways we are heightening a sense of arousal that could induce insomnia-like symptoms for us. Insomnia symptoms are difficulty falling asleep, difficulty staying asleep, and if you wake up too early involuntarily and you're unable to go back to sleep. And so any one of those is a classic sign of insomnia. But based on those things that I told you not to do, you are actually inducing difficulty falling asleep. You can't fall asleep with a full stomach. It could give you acid reflux as well. right? And so this is where it's important to have those